Coming up on Mountain News this morning, after being kept in a van for at least 2 weeks, 35 dogs were released and are now looking for forever homes. And the Appalachian Regional Commission's conference started yesterday with a focus on recovery and reparations.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Kelfie. The time is 5:31 on September 12th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. And I'm not even going to say the fog, but I'm going to say it. We're seeing
You already said it.
We're seeing some fog out there.
Exactly.
And obviously, Brandon said we're expecting a little bit of rain later today. So.
It's just overall kind of a dreary day, from the fog this morning to the rain this afternoon. But we've been talking about this for a couple of days. We're expecting this front. It picked up a little speed. We're actually expecting it tomorrow, but it actually come into play a little bit earlier. Let's take a look at Moorhead this morning. No fog up there right now, at least, so we'll continue to watch. There may be some fog in the distance. Kind of hard to see, but they've paved the interstate up there last little bit. 64 on 64 right there. Again, visibility about 10 miles, and dew points are okay. South wind at 3, humidity 100% up that way. 59 in Wise, 57 in Clintwood. A lot of mid to upper 60s out there, some low 60s. Manchester, Logan, Hazard, Irvin, but everybody else is basically 63 or above. 67 Monticello, one of the warmest spots in the region. Breakfast forecast, we were looking pretty good out there. No major issues this morning. Low to mid 60s for the most part, with a mix of fog and some clouds that will increase later this morning as we see those rain chances move in with that cold front. Olivia?
Thank you, Brandon. The name of a West Virginia boy hit and killed near his bus stop Friday has been released. Officials at Logan Middle School identified the boy as 7th grader Chance Artist. Deputies with the Logan County Sheriff's Office say Artist was hit by a car Friday morning near the intersection of 11th Street and Route 10. School leaders are asking all students to wear blue on Tuesday to honor the young boy. A Southern Kentucky woman is facing charges in connection to her own mother's death. Sheriff deputies in Pulaski County say 67-year-old Karen McDonald died the day after she finally received care, after her daughter reportedly left her lying in the floor of their home for weeks.
She did supply her with some food and some things like that, but leaving her in the floor was what was the most detrimental to her health. Elder abuse is one of those things that we don't like to talk about, but it's something that's very heartbreaking.
Police say sepsis, neglect, and some other factors all caused McDonald's death. Deputies say it's not clear why her adult daughter, 49-year-old Abra McDonald, left her in the floor for so long. Abra remains in jail on a $250,000 bond. 35 dogs were rescued from a van and are now looking to find forever homes. The dogs were found in a van in the Whitesburg Food City parking lot. They were rescued following a fight involving the owner of the van. Appalachian Pantry President Tara Ritchie says she was disturbed by what she saw. She said the dogs were trapped in the car with little to no room to move around, leaving them to sit in their own feces and urine.
When we arrived on the scene, you could actually smell the van before you got close to the van. And we had managed to crack a window in the front, and all of the dogs inside were trying to crowd into this little crack in the window, trying to put their noses in just to breathe fresh air. It's unimaginable to me that humans, let alone animals, lived in those conditions.
Ritchie says they have received messages concerning the dogs. She says the dogs will be given to foster and rescue homes in the upcoming days. To adopt or foster a dog, contact the Kentucky River Regional Animal Shelter. A Floyd County inmate was indicted for sending a letter that threatened a federal judge. Court documents revealed that on February 8th, Jerome E. Franklin reportedly sent a letter to the Lexington clerk of the United States District Court that read in part, quote, "I want to personally shoot your judge right between the eyes with a .38 special." End quote. Franklin is expected to be in court for an arraignment on September 22nd. One man is behind bars for his reported role in a shots fired complaint in Laurel County. Deputies say 18-year-old Peyton Bobbitt was accused of firing a gun multiple times at another car. Officials say 3 of the shots went into the passenger side of the car with a driver and front seat passenger. Neither one of them were injured. Bobbitt is charged with 2 counts of wanton endangerment. One man is facing charges after police reportedly caught him in the act of burglarizing a doctor's home Saturday in Baxter. Officials say 45-year-old Timothy Roark of Harlan was arrested without incident after the unnamed physician returned home to find a car they did not recognize in the driveway. Roark is charged with burglary and is being held on a $20,000 cash bond at the Harlan County Detention Center. One man who was injured in a deadly crash in Corbin in early September is now facing a homicide charge. Deputies with the Laurel County Sheriff's Office arrested 26-year-old James Barnes of London on Friday. The arrest stems from a crash on 5th Street Road back on September 3rd that killed Zachary Mathis. He is charged with vehicular homicide and is being held at the Laurel County Correctional Center on a $250,000 cash bond. State police are investigating a deadly crash in Morgan County. Troopers say 54-year-old Charles Perkins lost control of his vehicle Sunday near the Izil community in Morgan County. They say he went off the road and hit a tree. He died at the scene. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. At Kroger Field in Lexington yesterday, hundreds of people came to remember the first responders who gave their lives trying to save others in the attack. Grayson Passamore has more from the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb.
It wasn't a game being played under the stadium lights that brought so many out to Kroger Field this time.
We made that pledge 22 years ago that we would never forget those men and women that gave their life that day.
And as the hundreds start their ascent here, the sacrifices made on 9/11 will always be remembered.
They went down there and didn't hesitate. There were guys that were getting off shift that day, and instead of going home to their families, they got right back on the trucks and went downtown. So that's pretty special.
The 110 flights of stairs that people are walking in Kroger Field, representing the 110 stories or 2,200 steps that the first responders took who lost their lives in the World Trade Center that day.
It feels like more than a name. I'm carrying memories, I'm carrying a personality, I'm carrying a person.
Every person making this climb wears the name and picture of a first responder who died. So Monday night, they do carry that person. But like Air Force ROTC Cadet David Clark says, they're carrying their courage too.
Those people ran into a situation that they had no idea that they were coming out of, and many of them didn't. And in the future, I may be asked to do something very similar. And so carrying those memories, carrying that thought, and carrying that bravery is something that I'm never going to forget.
When a firefighter dies, a bell is rung to honor their service.
And then that's the memorial part of the climb to continue on.
At Kroger Field, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
According to information on the 9/11 Memorial and Museum website, 4 Kentuckians, including at least 2 from eastern Kentucky, were killed during the terrorist attacks. 26-year-old U.S. Navy Petty Officer First Class Edward T. Earhart from Moorhead was killed when a plane crashed into the Pentagon. 45-year-old John Charles Jenkins from Erlanger was a passenger on Flight 11. The 2 other Kentuckians include Virginia Ann Ormiston and Brian Patrick Williams. Officials at the Kentucky Department of Agriculture have announced a $40,000 grant from the USDA to purchase freezers and refrigerators for local food pantries. Officials say the funding will help to purchase 42 freezers and refrigerators for food pantries across the state. The effort is part of the Kentucky Hunger Initiative. The appliances help pantries preserve donations of perishable food items. Funding was funneling out of the Ashland area yesterday during the Appalachian Regional Commission's conference and beyond. Governor Andy Beshear presented more than $15 million in checks to representatives from Boyd, Carter, Lincoln, Rockcastle, and Rowan counties targeting broadband infrastructure and economic development needs in the area. He said it was a good way to bring the counties together between breaks at the conference, helping them fund needed projects in their respective counties that will benefit the entire Commonwealth.
Is going to help us not just leapfrog 10 other states' economies, but be a top 10 state economy. This is our time. This is our Eisenhower moment for infrastructure, and we got to grasp it.
County representatives spoke about the needs in their communities and the excitement for having the funds to address some of them immediately. Coming up, somewhere far, far away, a lost X-Wing model from Star Wars was recovered and is now up for sale at an auction.
A cold front is going to bring us some rain chances and then some cooler temperatures for the rest of this week. I'll have the latest forecast in about 3 minutes.